Another week, another trading cycles video. We are now in week 18 of 2023. Before we go over our predictions for this past week here, as well as go over what we predict might happen this upcoming week, as usual, keep in mind we do not provide financial advice. All the content that we share is intended for educational purposes only. And, as Romas likes to say, always trade the price and not the prediction.
That's right, Eric. That's very correct. So, yes, let's look at the big picture today a bit again. Obviously, this is a weekly chart here, and what we see is the decline of 2022. And obviously, since October, we have seen a slight raise on the markets, which has been a bit slow, to be honest. And we haven't seen a new top now, and still this head and shoulders pattern is in progress at the moment, in my eyes. We have seen higher low here, which is higher than the last low was, which was a good sign. But yes, we are still waiting for this top to exceed the previous one, which hasn't happened just yet. And there is a slight divergence going on the chart. If I would go on the other view here, yeah, all right. So basically here you can see that these tops, well, this one is higher than this one. So basically yesterday's, the 1st of May, is higher than 18th of April top was. But on the momentum side, we see the opposite. So basically the 18th was higher than the 1st of May one was. So there is a divergence between those. And that seems to indicate that the market might top here and start declining, as we have predicted here by the cyclical analysis, which we showed last week. So if you want to follow it more closely, please look into the last week's video as well. I'm not going to go through that again. But yeah, we do expect the markets to decline, obviously, in May. And there are a couple of other factors coming in as well. So let me get back to the usual screen here. All right. So last week we also saw another addition to the banking crisis, as we call it now, yeah, as I understand. So total 5 banks have fallen so far. And the last one was First Republic Bank, and it has been now taken over by JP Morgan, who paid actually for that bank. So it wasn't just a gift, or they didn't pay just a dollar for it or something like that. But still, they had quite good deal out of that. As I understand, JP Morgan gained about $63 billion with that deal from taxpayer, basically. So not too bad. And we have discussed that Jupiter is moving to the sign of Taurus in May, which supports the financial system, banks and also financial institutions. But before it happens, it's quite common that those shifts will take place, and obviously the bigger ones grow bigger and stronger, and we always should be with leaders with those cycles, obviously. And not all of them will win, unfortunately. So that's something to bear in mind. But yeah, from May until next May in 2024, the Jupiter will move through a Taurus sign, which is also indicating that those sectors should do better. All right. And regarding the future, though, May is quite crucial for this crisis that we have seen since beginning of last year. Yeah. Not only does Jupiter now change signs, but it also makes a precise and difficult aspect with Pluto, which has also changed signs recently. And this transit indicates difficult times in the economy, bankruptcies, insolvencies, and also increase of unemployment. So basically that should start growing as well. If we haven't seen, well, obviously we haven't seen official recession in US so far, but it might be indicating that then it might happen now when these transits go over us. And also this transit is activating the great mutation that started in the end of 2020 when Jupiter and Taurus met 0 degrees in Aquarius. Yeah. So yeah, is this the culmination of the crisis? I don't think it's going to be in the economy. So basically, it's still a long way to go. If something breaks now, then we have quite long until Fed will realize and change their policy, and thereafter, obviously, they don't usually change their policy until something has broken. So that's something to bear in mind. They are always behind roughly 3 to 6 months at least. And by now we have seen about 12 months of interest rate hikes, which has been the fastest phase in the history, at least what I know. Yeah. So it's not an easy task, obviously, for them, but they might learn something from the history, because it's been going on with every crisis so far in the past 70 years, what I went through, that they do raise the rates until something breaks, and then they start all over again. So I think that's going to happen this time as well. And yeah, yes, as I mentioned, the interest rates has been, well, rate hikes has been going on for the past 12 months. It started last April, and it usually takes Fed 12 to 18 months to see the reason to change the policy. And we are reaching that phase just about now. When the Fed changes its policy, markets also go into decline. So we might have another decline coming if that happens, yeah. And yeah, well, we have to just wait and see what the outcome is going to be, because the next rate decision will be on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, yeah. So that's quite important. And also unemployment data will come out on Friday, the 5th, which is actually the lunar eclipse day, exactly, on the 5th. So that might be quite important information that is coming out that day. And we also have quite crucial turning point here coming up on the 4th. So something to bear in mind. Alrighty. So returning to this week, as I said, there is a lunar eclipse coming up. Also, Mars is moving back into the bounds, so to say. It has been out of bounds since October, and that's actually the time when markets started raising. So when the Mars moves back into those degrees, that it should be well, it's not the right way to say it, but where the sun moves, into those degrees. So could that happen to be the turning point for the markets as well? It might be, yeah. So something to bear in mind as well. So these cycles are actually in effect just as we speak now. We might also see black swan event, or we might see some geopolitical changes, or even wars, or some conflicts worldwide. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind as well. These might be trigger points for markets as well. Or something might just fundamentally change on the markets. So yeah, these are the questions we need answers to, and obviously cycles will help us a bit. Obviously, nothing is 100% certain. If it was 100% certain, we wouldn't be here, or we would be a bit foolish saying so. All right. So, and let's have a look at the gold market now. Gold market is seeing a slight raise today, and we have basically completed our expectation here for that raise since the last turning point. Could that mean that gold will start declining there? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes these turning points worked, sometimes not. But still something to bear in mind. There is coming up a bullish period for gold in the middle of May, and it lasts until 2nd of June. So that's something to bear in mind, just based on the historical data. Okay. Bitcoin will see some sort of decline, and it's not going to be easy one. Actually, the cyclical decline will probably start on the 8th, and it lasts until 22nd of June, as far as we can see. And that might be actually the last serious decline for Bitcoin until it starts taking off again. So that's what I mean by that is that since Bitcoin has declined from November 21, I think that's going to be the last one. So it might take off again since after that, obviously. But again, we need to wait and see what the price actually does, as I always like to say. Yeah? So just to bear in mind that there is a bearish period coming up. And what the overall market is saying in regards to moving averages, then that is still in the same place where it was a couple of weeks ago. So not much has been happening here. So I believe we might stay in this lower area for quite a while now. It sometimes happens, when let's say here was a period when it was overbought for quite a while. And obviously in some cases it stays below here for quite a while as well. So we might have another drop here. That's common. And obviously the VIX index has seen some action today. It went quite high, went back down. And by the cyclical analysis, we might see some raise in here again in the May or June time. So it's something to bear in mind. It might go higher again, which is in alignment with our prediction that markets will start falling. So yeah, as markets fall, the volatility will go up. All right. And what else is there? Then the earnings season, yeah, we'd like to go through a couple of companies we mentioned last week. We did go through a couple of them, but it doesn't always work. Obviously, Microsoft, as we said, might have difficult transits here coming up, but obviously it surprised quite heavily, and price has been actually taking off quite seriously. So that was a good news. Visa, though, it acted quite accordingly. The surprise was positive, yeah, and obviously the price opened higher. It did decline during the day, but then took off again. So that's all good. Boeing was a negative surprise, and the price acted as it should have. No, it opened higher and then declined during the day, and it has been on decline. So there might be some more decline coming for Boeing as well, as there are some negative transits still in play. CACI was positive surprise, and it did open higher after that. And Rollins, ROL, yeah, sorry, is also positive. Obviously, we thought that it's not going to be that positive, but obviously we won't recommend to hold it either. Obviously, there are negative transits in play, and it might decline further during the May or June even, yeah. And Thursday, the Caterpillar was positive, but the price was negative. So there are still those negative transits in play, as we can see. So until we see positive price action, we shouldn't take any positions in there, as we need confirmation from the price. And at the moment, as we can see by the indicators, it's all negative. There's nothing good going on at the moment. CBRE is, well, it was positive. Yeah, 7% surprise there. And it did open up higher and it did continue go higher, which we think it will go down again in the next coming weeks a bit, yeah. And the SCO has been in negative territory, negative surprise there. So this week, what we have seen so far, so LNG, negative surprise, it was this morning, in the morning of 2nd, and chart is quite negative as well. Uber, very positive chart, and also the surprise was very positive, and price, as you can see, it took off like a rocket here. It's going very well, and according to the chart, yeah, so that's perfect. Starbucks will announce this evening after the close, and it might be a positive surprise, but as we can see, it starts declining soon after. So if not in May, then possibly in June, we will see some decline again. Well, we need to follow the price and see what the price action does, and then obviously make our decision based on that. BIP coming up on Wednesday, and by the looks of it, it's going to be a positive surprise this time, but it might decline into May and June. So not the best one. NTLA, quite positive here, so something to look out for. Square, or now called Block, yeah, is very positive, but the trend has been very negative, as you can see. Yeah? So it's not good. It might actually break that trend, but I wouldn't trade it at the moment, as it might fall even further. And HII is also very negative, as we can see from these transits, and also the trend is negative, so there might be more bad news coming for this company. All right. So that's the story for now. Obviously, we are at the major turning point or crossroads at the moment, so we'll just have to wait and see where it takes us, and then act accordingly. As we can't give you any recommendations, but it's always best to be cautious at these times, and also tighten your stop loss, just to be on the safe side.
Thank you very much, Urmas, and thank you for watching and listening. As always, if you haven't already, click that like button, click the subscribe button, press that bell notification icon so you get notified when we upload next. As I always like to say, share this video with anyone you feel like might benefit from the information shared here, like your grandma, your neighbor, maybe you have a cat. I don't know, cats like to watch stuff, I guess. Obviously I say it as a joke, but share the video and leave a comment down below if you have any questions, if you have any recommendations, or just general feedback for us. We're happy to read and incorporate any sort of feedback we get into our videos. But until the next week, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Have a good trading week. All the best to you. Bye-bye.